Okay, yes, Virgie, I think we can begin now. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of our Kartik reading, and thank you all for making the time to come and join us today. So again, if you can come on camera, that would be really nice to see some more faces, make it more interactive. And once again, like yesterday's session, we'll have our questions and answers and comments at the end of the session. So without further ado, today's topic, chapter 53 of the Krishna book, Kṛṣṇa Kidnaps Rukmiṇī, by Ashish Prabhu. Thank you, Virgie. So over to you.
Thank you
Hariful.
very much, Asta. Thank you. First of all, let's say Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitanamine Namaste Saraswati Devim Gauravani Pracharin Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshtarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. The happy Kartik to all. And thank you for letting me speak on this auspicious month. It's only for my purification. I'm just going to repeat whatever the Prabhupada wrote in a book. Prabhupada has written, so I'm not adding anything. It's just, I'm going to say whatever it says in the book. So thank you. First of all, let's recap a little yesterday because Abhay has covered some of this chapter. So when the chapter 52 was Ranachod, the Krishna left battlefield and be known as Ranachod because this is one of his special events that he created because he know the generation after me, they will remember me as a Ranchod. Not that he is not capable to fight anyone. He can fight hundreds and thousands of people, but he chose to run away from that. And it was just one of his pastime. So when yesterday we visited the Narad Muni had visited Rukmiṇī, and the Narad Muni is always instigated. He's always give some kind of before the Vishnu or Narayan or Krishna comes, he always makes a playing field that the Krishna, it will show that what was the reason the Krishna came for. So when he meets Rukmiṇī and he tells about the Krishna, so Rukmiṇī never met Krishna, so but because let's say that because Rukmiṇī is not ordinary person, so he comes to the Rukmiṇī and it tells Rukmiṇī about the Krishna, what the 6 opulence he possessed. Like he is full of wealth, renunciation, fame, knowledge, strength, and beauty. So these are all things what Narad Muni said to Rukmiṇī, and Rukmiṇī started thinking, wow, if I would have a husband, I would definitely have a husband like him or him only, because not everyone has everything in the full potential. So obviously anybody would choose him as as a husband. And so we have to create 3 here. Look. Okay. So, and again, Rukmiṇī has the 5 opulence of herself too. She's most intelligent, auspicious physical feature, liberal mindset, exquisite beauty, and righteous behavior. These would definitely attract Krishna. Because Krishna's, no ordinary people can be Krishna's wife, as so definitely this. So later on they will have something in common to go on for the marriage ceremony. So when Bhishma wants Rukmiṇī to marry Krishna, actually the father of Rukmiṇī, Bhishma, he must have heard a lot about the Krishna, and he was always thinking that the Krishna should marry to Rukmiṇī, and that would be the perfect ideal couple. And so he always wanted the Rukmiṇī to marry Krishna, but his son Rukmi was not, he did not like this idea, because Rukmi, Shishupal, Jarasandh, they're all kind of evil kings or prince. They hated Krishna, they envied Krishna so much that they just could not stand Krishna, and so Rukmi said, no way, this cannot happen. The most, we can have her married to Shishupal. Shishupal is the best candidate, and that. So for that purpose, I think Bhishma gave in to Rukmi and said, okay, since you're the one that says I could not go against you because you're my son and all these things. So they finally agreed to marry her to Shishupal. And then Brahmana, so when this date are coming close, so Rukmiṇī was very nervous because she only wanted to marry Krishna. So she invited the Brahmana and she wanted to give a message to Krishna that this is a situation and I only, I would only want to marry you, otherwise I would not even want to marry anyone. So Brahmana comes to Krishna, and then Krishna will take care of Brahmana very well, feeds him, gives him in a charity, and gives him a rest and clean clothes and everything, provides it. And the next morning when he wakes up, he will take the Brahmana's feet on his lap and massages his feet and ask Brahmana, what is the message? Why are you here? What can I do for you? So Brahmana comes to Krishna and, tells all about Rukmiṇī's desire, that Rukmiṇī would like you to marry her, otherwise she would not marry to anyone else. And right now the situation is that they are going to marry her with the Shishupal, and she said, please Krishna, come and save me. So these things takes place, and when Krishna hears this, he would say, well, this is definitely my kind of work. And he leaves right away with, he tells Daruka, his Sarthi, and he tells, let's go, we will go to Vidarbha. So they travel all night, go to Vidarbha next morning. And when he goes there, and Balaram notices that Krishna went there without any army, without anything. So he was worried. So he said, well, I need to go after him with the army. And just in case something happens, these people will attack Krishna, I can protect him. So he leaves after that. So this a whole, the army of people that soldiers Balram will bring. So Krishna reaches there, and as soon as Bhishma knew that the Krishna has came, so he will, he will welcome him. He does all of this, facilitate his coming, gives him a place to stay, clean clothes, and all of these things, and treats him as very well, because he actually had a very soft heart for the Krishna, because she wanted him to get married, he wanted her to get married to him. So in Vidarbha at that time, many princes, many kings, everybody came, and so much in auspicious atmosphere, like all the Brahmanas was given a charity, the gold and all the food stuff, and all these citizens of Vidarbha was all taken care of. All this palace was, it was very well lit, and all the men's, women's are nice clothes and these, that just like a very festive kind of a marriage. So they all, they were all invited right there, and the kingdom was very well decorated. Charity was given to Brahmana, cow was given, everything was done. Bhishmaka was very happy to have this occasion. And so now the chapter 53, again, the Rukmiṇī was very well decorated, because she was supposed to get married. So she was very well dressed. All this is, it describes how she was dressed, like she was decorated with many jewels and silk cloths, and auspicious sacred thread was tied to her wrist. This, like, she looked very beautiful, and all the princes, all the kings, they wished that they would marry her, or she would pick them as her husband. So, and because of the wedding atmosphere, all the Brahmana was chanting a mantra, the Atharva Veda, and offer oblations to the fires, and all of this. We know how the wedding ceremony takes place, and especially with the old time, that's very elaborate, giving a lot of charity and all these things. So this was taking place, and then but all this, the Shishupal and Rukmi and Jarasingh, they all were there. And Damagosha, who was Shishupal's father, he was there. He was taking care of everything, make sure all this good fortune will bring to his son. He was doing all these auspicious things. But then again, he knew that Kṛṣṇa is coming. So he had his army ready too, just in case that the Kṛṣṇa would do anything or disturb the wedding, so they can all fight him and protect the Shishupal and Rukmiṇī for their wedding. So on the other side, this says this all of a sudden Balram come with a whole army of people, and so make sure that everybody will understand that Kṛṣṇa is not all by himself. He has Balram on his side. So then, when Kṛṣṇa was not still at Rukmiṇī has not seen the Kṛṣṇa. So Rukmiṇī had anxiety. That describes that how that she was thinking. Her thinking was that would Kṛṣṇa approach here, will get here in time before I get married to Shishupal? What happens if he doesn't? What have I done? What kind of probably anartha or something that I have done that that Kṛṣṇa would not be able to come in time, and I would have to get married to Shishupal. So she was in the mind, she was thinking that, oh my God, I must have offended any demigods, or, like we know that the same thing happened to Kṛṣṇa. If Kṛṣṇa said, well, we're not going to worship Indra, but let's worship the Govardhan. So Indra get upset, and then we all know what happened. It's 7 days, a day and night, so much rain, and it just destroyed the Vrindavan. Everything was underwater. So Kṛṣṇa has taken care of all the Vrajvasis and bring them under the Govardhan and save them. So then she had all these things, and back of her mind, I must have offended Brahma, if I've offended Lord Shiva, Goddess Durga, or anyone. I don't know. I must have done something that this is happening to me. And that all of a sudden, then she had the feeling that we have it, right? Sometimes we have like our eyelid flickers, or some kind of things happen, gives us some kind of omens that, oh, maybe something good will happen. Maybe I have it's itch in my palm or something, that it gives that, oh, maybe something good will happen. So that kind of feelings she started to having. She's like, she said, you know, the itch in the eyelid was kind of flickering, the thighs and her arms are getting a tingle and trembles. So these are things she considered the very auspicious. So maybe something good will happen to, you know. So then all of a sudden she see the Brahmana, and then she felt very relieved, and she's very anxious to ask what happened. Why have you, did you send did you give a message to Krishna? Is Krishna coming? So then the son of a Yadu dynasty, Sri Krishna has arrived, Brahmana said. And then she said, oh, thank you. See, she was like so relieved that she said, she bowed down in front of Brahmana, and she said, I have nothing to give you, but I can give you the obeisances soon. Please, you know. So she does the obeisances as a gratitude to her, to the Brahmana for this, his service. And then Bhishma was relieved. He sees Krishna and he said, wow, this is something that if now the Krishna would marry Rukmiṇī, then would be something that my wish will come true. So Bhishma was ready to welcome Krishna, and Balaram was very hospitable and offered them honey and a fresh wash garden. So they were all taken care of. They, you know, they have put them in nice rooms, gave them all they need. And usually this wedding ceremonies is like a 2-3 days event. So all the guests who comes, the host will have to take care of them with everything they need, their necessity. Okay, so Bhishma was, this is the sentence he says in the Bhishma prayers. It says, our dear Lord, if we have performed any pious activity with which you are satisfied, kindly be merciful upon us and accept the hand of Rukmiṇī. So Krishna, of course, knows why he's there, and he knows what he's going to do, you know. So finally, Rukmiṇī was going to the temple, you know, before the wedding take place, they go to, you know, we have a Katyayani, a lot of ladies, they go to Katyan, you know, single ladies for asking for a good husband. So she was going to goddess Durga. And actually, the Rukmiṇī is Lakshmi Devi herself. And Lakshmi Devi is daughter of Shiva and Parvati. So Shiva and Parvati has 4 kids. One, Lakshmi Devi, Saraswati Devi, Kartikeya, and Ganesh. There are 4, you know, the kids that they have. So these are all demigods. So Rukmiṇī is no ordinary. She is Lakshmi Devi herself. And Lakshmi Devi cannot go to anywhere but to the Narayan. Only and only Narayan or Krishna or whatever you say. So in the Bhagavad Gita, she is going to the Durga Devi's temple to worship and to offer the obeisances. But in the Bhagavad Gita, it says the worship of a demigod is condemned, but not forbidden, as people go to them for a material benefit. So we have everybody has their own Devi Devatas that they go to and ask for boons, and mostly the material boons. That if there are any difficulties or something, they go pray for them. So please remove this difficulty or this obstacle. And of course, if you're a really staunch devotee of that particular demigod or something, so they will give you some kind of a solace. So definitely this is, but in our Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, it says you should not even ask for any material boon, because this is ultimately still binding in the material world. So it was, you know, that's condemned but not forbidden. So as a Durga Devi is her family deity, Rukmiṇī wanted to please her, but she had Krishna within her heart. Therefore, she is not an ordinary prayer. So, of course, she is not asking for anything material. She is asking for Krishna. Of course, our mood should be always that. We're not asking for anything, no material, but Krishna. Because if he is on your side, what else can be equal to that? Nothing, right? So we should always ask for Krishna instead of any other thing. And of course, Krishna will provide. He says, if I see necessity, I will provide you that too. It's not that Krishna will only provide you with liberation or anything, but he can always provide the material boons too. So that is so we should always pray for Krishna or Narayan. And again, that's another thing that this is exactly I took it from a book because I really liked it. As she was adjusting to the ornament on the finger of her left hand, she appeared to look upon the prince and suddenly saw that Krishna was present among them. Although Rukmiṇī had never seen Krishna, she was always thinking of him. Thus, she had no difficulty recognizing him among the princely's order. Krishna, unconcerned with other prince, immediately took the opportunity to place Rukmiṇī on his chariot, marked by flag bearing an image of Garuda. He then proceeded slowly without fear, taking Rukmiṇī away, exactly as a lion takes a deer from the midst of jackals. Meanwhile, Balram appeared on the scene and the soldiers of the Yadu dynasty. So he took the Rukmiṇī, put her on a chariot, and all the princes and the kings who were, or Shishupal, Jarasandha, Rukmi, whoever, they were envious of Krishna. He saw them that he can just take anything what he wants because he's the supreme Lord. So, and of course, Lakshmi ji cannot have anyone else but Krishna herself. So I think this is all for my class. My realization is, see, material boons and Krishna can give anything he wants. So what we settle here, everybody wants something here, right? That's why we're in material world. Little bit of things, even some adverse time happens, something happens to us, we right away run for our own demigods or something to remove that obstacles. But if you constantly devoted to Krishna, it's always devoted to Krishna. Krishna knows how to maneuver you from any difficulties and bring you out. And another thing is, material boons are temporary. Everything is temporary. Krishna is sitting within your heart, seeing that what you want. If you want him, he can engage himself. He can be active. But if you ignore Krishna and go for anything that you desire to want in the material world, then he will be very quiet, very passive, and he will just watch and give you free will to do whatever you want. So ask for Krishna. He will take everything. He will take care of everything. Now that's all for me. If any question, anyone? I don't know if I can.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the class today. Before we go into questions, I think we have a couple of announcements from Ramchandra Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful presentation, Ashish Prabhu. So before we go into question answers, I just want to request everybody to, whoever would like to stay on. One of our very dear friend, Vivek Prabhu, he lost his mother today. So we will, it's month of Kartik, so we will just take this opportunity, all of us together, chant one round for the departed soul. So I just wanted to mention that. Asta, you can take over.
Thank you, Prabhuji. If anyone has any questions at this time, you can raise your hand or unmute, or any comments.
Hey, Haribol, this is Manasvi.
I do
I actually just wanted to say that I actually really liked kind of that point where like Mother Rukmiṇī, how she never saw Krishna, yet she was so, she had so much faith in him. And I think that is kind of representative of us, right, as human beings, that, I mean, yes, we get to see Krishna in the temple in the form of his murti and everything, but very few of us are very, very fortunate to actually have that physical interaction with Krishna. I think only very, very elevated souls get that opportunity. So I think it was very sweet that even though she had never seen him, she just had unwavering faith in him. And I think that's kind of very, I think that's an example for us in a way, because even though we don't get that day-to-day interaction with Krishna, like how do you build faith, right, with someone? You build it by spending time with them, getting to know them, talking to them, and that tactile interaction. So sometimes only elevated souls get that with Krishna, and most of us don't get that. So I think it's an example for us, because we should really, really, I guess, kind of be in that mood of Rukmiṇī, like Mother Rukmiṇī, in that even though we don't get a chance to see Krishna, we should build our faith in such a way that it becomes unwavering. So I really, really like that little portion, and how it's also, like, I guess, a glimpse of how she is, right? And that's that quality that we should also as humans imbibe. So I thought that was very sweet, and that kind of stood out for me.
Thank you, Manasvi. Yeah, point well taken.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, in that case, Prabhuji, I have a question. So with this entire picture with Kṛṣṇa kidnapping Rukmiṇī and everything, someone else may think that, like, oh, how come, like, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is kidnapping someone? Isn't that the wrong thing to do? So although we know, like, the entire thing behind this, how could we explain to someone else that this was really, not the wrong thing?
Well, if it's a mundane people, we do see all the time people running away and getting married, these days and age happening all the time. And so but again, Krishna can marry 16,000 women, so he can do anything. And then, of course, she is not ordinary. She is Lakshmi Devi herself. And Krishna is the only sole person who can have her. So either hook or crook, you will take it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Any last questions, comments? Okay, with that, I'm assuming there's no more, but thank you again, Prabhuji, for that really nice class. It was, again, very, very informative, and we will tomorrow again have a continuation of the next pastime by a very special speaker, Arjun Saka Prabhuji. Again, same time, same place, 8:30 to 9:30. So hopefully everyone can again join us tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity.
What is the chapter tomorrow name? Chapter name?
Chapter name tomorrow is...
And everyone can... Yeah, go ahead.
Krishna defeats all the princes and takes Rukmiṇī home to Dwarka.
All right. Tomorrow will be a full hour. And as I mentioned earlier, so Vivek Prabhu, some of you may not know, he's an old-time friend, colleague used to be, and then a friend, and then a Bhakti Vriksha member. Him and his wife, they both live in Parsippany. His mother was here visiting for a few months, and last few days, or a week or so ago, she was in hospital, sick, and they couldn't really figure out what was going on. She was getting fever on and off, and they couldn't figure out what was happening. And then finally she came home, and then a couple of days after she came home, Vivek's sister came from India and took her mother back to Mumbai. And as they reached Mumbai, from what I know so far, I have not gotten a chance to speak to Vivek yet, spoke to Asmita, is that from the hospital, from the airport itself, they had to take her in an ambulance. And before she reached the hospital, she left her body. Shrikant Prabhu, if you know anything more than that, or if you need to correct me, please feel free to.
No, Prabhu, we don't know more than that at this point.
Okay. So it was very unexpected, and it's very difficult in these situations when something you just don't expect ever, even in your dreams, or even you never want something like that to happen, but it happens. And at that time, to remain strong, to remain